In this session, we want to talk about the healing power of touch. We have three primary goals in mind. We want to talk about why touch, what makes it so important. Then we want to talk about how to achieve safe, nurturing, healthy touch with a child or youth that may be aversive to connection and to touch. And then finally, we want to talk about a framework for touching healthy, safe, connecting touch between adults and children of any age. So first, let's look on the research that tells us why we want to touch, why touch is so important. We know as scientists that touch is the first sense to develop in utero in all known species. And touch is actually the last sense that you will lose when you die. Touch from the moment of conception to the moment of birth is the fundamental mode for communicating. And from birth through the lifespan, a touch on the hand, a touch on the cheek, a pat on the back, a holding of a hand, a snuggling, human interactions, human connections are guided by and enriched through safe, nurturing touch. We know, for example, that a 2-second touch on the hand of someone a waitress is serving will make a dramatic difference in her tip. So if she puts down food and or the ticket, the bill, and touches her client's hand at the same time for just 2 seconds, 1, 2, that fast, we know that the tip will be dramatically higher. There's a fascinating research that was done, a library study, in which the librarian simply touched the hand of every other college student as she pushed their books across the desk to them after stamping the return date. At the foot of the stairs was a researcher who said they were just there to interview the college students about the college library. And they asked questions like, was the lighting good? Was the sound level good? Was it quiet? Did you feel there were many books? Were there the books in your domain? Was it an enjoyable experience to be in this library? College students had no idea that their data would be sorted by they had a 1 to 2 second touch on the hand or not, as the librarian returned their books. The astounding research showed that college students who received about a second of touch on their hand as the books were pushed across the desk would say that the lighting in the library was better, there were more books in the library, the sound level in the library was pleasant, it was a good working atmosphere. A very, very small amount of touch has powerful capacity to make a person feel safe, feel connected, feel valued. We also know that there are many therapeutic values with touch, as well as connecting values. For example, a brief touch on the chin or the arm or the shoulder, a pat on the back, elevates dopamine in a tiny slope, and connection and contentment follow. We know that therapeutic touch, for example, infant massage, toddler massage, therapeutic touch with adolescents, and so forth, literally calms the central nervous system, elevates serotonin, it reduces the stress chemicals, cortisol, and the catecholamines, and it promotes brain development as well as sensory processing. That is a great amount of physical, biological benefit that can come from therapeutic touch. One of the most notable touch researchers of our time, Dr. Tiffany Field at the University of Miami Medical School, has used therapeutic touch since her own firstborn child was born prematurely, and she did research with touch with premature babies. What Dr. Field discovered was that premature babies in the hospital who had therapeutic touch, just 5 to 10 minutes of infant massage several times a day, those babies gained weight dramatically at faster rates on the same amount of food, the same amount of formula, and those babies went home from the hospital significantly sooner than babies who simply did not have therapeutic touch. She went on to find that even laying these newborns on lamb's wool, and the lamb's wool soft touch, had a therapeutic value for calming the central nervous system, improving the baby's breathing, changing the neurochemistry, promoting brain development, and so forth. So dramatic amounts of biological change have been documented. Dr. Field is a pioneer in this area of research, and she has documented improvements in adults with autoimmune disease such as lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, through therapeutic touch. She has treated women with depression and anxiety and documented changes in the biochemistry and the mood. She's worked with adolescents, teenagers who had aggression and violence problems, and she's actually able to alter aggression through therapeutic touch. She's treated young children with ADHD and ADD, and in one of her most fascinating studies, Dr. Field documented the fact that she could actually stop the progression of Alzheimer's through the use of therapeutic touch. Now, what's important about that is because Alzheimer's is associated with high levels of one chemical, glutamate, which is excitatory, when therapeutic touch is given, excitatory neurotransmitters are calmed, they come down. And the inhibitory neurotransmitters such as GABA and serotonin are elevated. And by reversing the biochemistry through safe touch, she was able to halt Alzheimer's progression. In addition, she was able to facilitate new synaptic brain development in aged Alzheimer's patients in exactly the same way that could be facilitated with newborn children or young children. One of the most important things that we need to understand is what are some ways we can touch. In every environment where there are adults and children and youth, touch can be present in safe, nurturing, connecting forms. Parents have more latitude in the types of touch and the amount of touch, but all caregivers in classrooms, in facilities, even in orphanages, can learn to be connective and empowering through touch. We taught, for example, orphanage staff in Rwanda how to use therapeutic massage, and they're working on therapeutic touch with little people, the little bitty ones in their care. We worked only today with a mother who has a child who appears to be autistic. And we had talked in my last time together with this mother about how he had sensory processing challenges, and that she would begin to look for times where she could give him a deep shoulder rub, a back rub, not soft feathery touch, which is unnerving to most children who have sensory or behavioral and or historical trauma, abuse, neglect challenges. But her goal was to find times that she could rub his shoulders firmly as long as he was content, that she could give him a back rub. When we spoke, this mother said tearfully, tears of joy, that since the last time we spoke, she sat down on the sofa with her youngster and she asked if she could rub his back. And he said yes. He doesn't usually like touch, as most children on the autism spectrum are aversive to touch. But with firm, safe touch and asking permission, this child knew he was safe and he allowed touch and then began to lean into the touch. This mother told me he leaned into her touch and he let her rub his back, and 15 minutes went by and the little guy just kind of wiggled a little bit. She knew he was done. And he got up and began to walk away. And here's a child who is not social. He is not connected. He is not verbal. Doesn't make eye contact. And her child began to walk away from her and turned around and walked back and looked her in the eyes and said, "Mommy, I really, really love you." And turned and then went on out to play. I said to this woman, you just saw a real child when his brain is organized, when he feels safe, nurtured, and connected. That is the healing power of safe touch. So what are some ways parents can touch? And then what are some ways teachers, caregivers, staff can touch? There are limitations, but there are ways to find safe touch in every environment where we serve children and youth. Parents, for example, can use infant toddler massage. We have a very favorite DVD. We'll show you a clip in a moment. What we tell parents and foster parents and caregivers who are working with children under 3 or 4, the best investment that they will make is in learning to do therapeutic touch with that little one. All the medical benefits, all the attachment benefits, all the connectivity, the brain development benefits can be achieved simply through therapeutic touch. I spoke in a city in another state some time ago, and a woman came to me following my presentation because I had encouraged foster parents who were fostering infants and toddlers to use an infant massage DVD and to learn to do infant massage several times a day based on the work of Dr. Field. A woman came to me following the session and she said, I want to tell you my personal story. She said, we fostered a child 5.5 years ago who was a cocaine baby. He was born drug positive and he actually had to be weaned from drugs at birth. And she said, when that child was in our home, because I'm a registered nurse, I knew the power of infant massage, and so I began to do infant massage several times a day. She said, we went on to adopt that little boy, and he's 5.5 now, and my pediatrician is astonished that our son has no sign of drug damage. He has none of the behavioral problems, none of the learning problems, none of the cognitive problems. She said, it's a marvel to me that healing touch could have done so much. So for older children, we're able to achieve those same types of benefits with something called a Wilbarger brushing protocol. So first, parents can do massage. Second, they can do Wilbarger brushing protocol. Now, this only takes about 30 minutes to be trained by an occupational therapist who's knowledgeable. And parents do this little brushing activity several times a day in the same way that massage can be done. In occupational therapy plans, we've worked with many schools where the child would do Wilbarger brushing at home and then during the day maybe go down to the OT's office or to some other specialist in the school's office every 2 hours for the Wilbarger brushing. Over time, we actually get new synaptic connections in the brain from that. We actually get calming of the central nervous system, and we get the righting of a brain chemistry that may be off from a history of harm or trauma. So Wilbarger brushing is a powerful way to get touch. There's some wonderful games that can be done. We love to do weather report, where you ask a child if you can show them a weather report by doing weather on their back. And if the child consents, then we'll take our hands and swish them back and forth firmly on their back and say, "This is the wind. It's windy today. How did you like that? Did you like the wind?" And we see what the child likes. Well, would you like the wind firmer or softer? And we let the child have a great deal of power over how the weather report is done. And then we might say taking fingertips and tipping them down the back, the high part of the shoulders and the high part of the back, and say, "This is raindrops. Do you feel the raindrops? Do you want hard raindrops or soft raindrops?" So we'll go through a weather report of stormy weather and cloudy weather and windy weather, and we'll let the child have a great deal of power. Now, this is something we've done in group activities, in nurture groups, in orphanages, residential facilities. Lots of schools do this during a nurture group, or even a quick break in the day. Let's say each child can pair off with a buddy next to them and do the weather report. Another game that's a lot of fun, most parents will remember doing with their little ones, is soaping up the back of a bathtub child and saying, "Can I write the ABC and you tell me what I write?" Or, "May I write 1, 2, 3 and you tell me what I write?" That's a group activity that can be done in schools, that can be done in group facilities, where maybe the task is a little more complex as the kids get older. We do things, parents can do things. My colleague Dr. Cross talks about his great big old son who's a Marine, and how he learned to get safe touch with him by offering to do a shoulder rub, and he would just do a really quick shoulder rub. That's a group activity sometimes where we're doing trainings even with adults, or where we're doing nurture groups with adolescents. We'll just make a circle where everybody reaches the shoulders of the person in front of them and gives them a 2-minute shoulder rub. Something that's fun and can create a really creative way to get touch. We have a teacher friend who taught us something that she does, that she keeps hand sanitizer. And when the kids first come in the door in the morning, she greets the kids and looks them in the eyes and asks them how they're doing, and saying, "Let's make sure you got off all those germs from the school bus," and takes a little hand sanitizer and puts it on the kiddos' hands for just 20 seconds. It's a great way to start the day, making eye contact, making connection with a child. There are also things that we've taught groups of parents and caregivers to do: hand massage, a foot massage, always giving a child a lot of power, and we'll show you some scripts for doing that in just a moment. Now, other types of touch that facilitate connection and safety for kids, you'll see in our ideal response, there's direct engagement that we use in all environments. That chin prompt, where I might put my hand under a child's chin, touch their chin, and say, "Let me see great eyes." Now, with an adolescent, I won't touch the chin, but I will do symbolic touch under the chin and say, "Let me see those great eyes." And I see the kids turn towards me as though I had touched them. There's great power. Even if you can't physically touch, there's symbolic touch. Pat on the back. My colleague David Cross calls it drive-by kindness, where I'm walking by my child and I just pat them on the shoulder or the back. Or I'm walking by the desk of a student, or walking by a youngster watching television, and I just simply pat them on the shoulder or the back. Say, "Hey, buddy." A firm hand on the shoulder that says hello, or "I see you, I know who you are." And then, of course, parents can give lots and lots of hugs. Teachers, caregivers, staff can give side hugs. At times there may be some limitations, but we probably have more latitude than we give ourselves in most circumstances. Every adult can find many, many ways to connect through 1 to 2 second touch or more in every environment where we are serving children and youth. Now, in the clip that follows, I want to show you from our favorite infant massage DVD. It's called Baby, Baby, Oh Baby. And if you're interested in finding it, you can find it at babybabyobaby.com. It's a fabulous DVD, very, very clear, as you will see. Now, parents might say, well, you know what? That's for little kids. Well, this 4-minute clip is going to show you the principles about gaining touch and connection that works for all ages. A teacher might say, well, this is silly. I can't do infant massage. I'm working with adolescents. Or a staff person or caregiver might say, I can't give that kind of touch. We understand the limitations. This is an infant massage for caregivers of young children, but what we want you to see is that the same principles a child should have learned through safe nurturing care when they were small are the same principles that we would use with an Alzheimer's patient who was 80, or with a lupus patient who was 40, or with an adolescent who was 18, and so forth. You see where I'm going. So in this 3-minute to 4-minute clip, first you're going to see the caregiver always finds a calm, alert state. We never try to teach something new or to do something instructive unless a child is in a calm, alert state. If a child is agitated and I press them to learn something, or if they're tired and I press them to practice a new behavior, I am setting them up for failure instead of setting them in a place to succeed. So first, for children of all ages and youth of all ages, I find a calm, alert state. That means I become sensitive to the emotional states, the physical states, the feeling states of the kiddos that I'm serving. Second, I need to be flexible and creative in how I go about interacting and how I go about finding ways for safe connection through touch. Then I'm going to ask permission of myself. It does no good for me to try to teach a child something when I'm not emotionally present. So I'm going to ask myself to be emotionally present. I'm going to ask myself to turn away from all the distractions, the paperwork that's waiting for me, the class that is next, the computer work that is coming from the office to my home computer. All of those things have to be set aside for this moment. And I need to ask permission for myself to be fully present. And then I need to ask permission of this infant, child, or youth. I can observe a tiny one. You'll see fabulous observation by caregivers as they ask permission very creatively for the little one, may I give you a touch? And you will find children under a year of age give cues that say yes or say no. All of these tools in this framework for safe, healthy touch can be summed up as mindful engagement, which we've talked about before. All of these things can be summed up as connecting. I'm looking into the child's eyes. I am being aware of their state. I am fully present myself. I'm flexible and creative if the child needs me to take a different route and to do something different. And I've asked permission before I touch or hug. We will frequently ask a child, may I give you a hug? Or may I put my hand on your shoulder in the beginning so that they know that they're safe. Now we want you to see this beautiful clip from Baby, Baby, Oh Baby. And in this you will see what we consider to be an ideal framework for achieving safe, healthy touch with infants and youngsters of all ages.
What's the first thing you want to do when you see a baby? You want to pick her up and touch that amazing little body. This is a film about that, about the art of infant massage. There's no better way to communicate with your baby, to build her confidence and yours, to tell her how strong and capable she is, and of course, how much you love her. Massage can bond you for a lifetime and build a foundation of love and trust that will help her become whoever and whatever she wants. It's love, one touch at a time. Getting started is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Number 1, get a baby. Nice. Now get a warm, quiet room. Remember, at least one of you is in your birthday suit. And finally, you, all of you, mind, body, and spirit. No TV, no phone, no distractions. Just you and your baby. When is the best time for a massage? Most of us would say anytime, but with babies, you're looking for that time when they're not sleepy or hungry, not crying or antsy, just relaxed, curious, open to new things. It's called the quiet alert state. Every baby has a few times like this every day. Eventually, the two of you will find a daily rhythm when you both know, oh boy, it's time for a massage. Let's face it, there's nothing more fun than a baby's body, and you get to massage every part of it. Arms and hands, legs and feet, chest, face, and of course, tushy. There's no right or wrong order, and you may not get to every part every time. That's okay. Think of it as a dance that you and your baby improvise together. Now, if we were the ones getting the massage, we'd happily lie still, turn over when we're told to, and follow our bliss. Not babies. Remember, we said this is a dance. It's just that some days it's a waltz and others it's a jitterbug. Sometimes you just gotta sit up. Sometimes you just gotta be on your side. Think of it as a chance to hone two of your most important parenting skills, flexibility and creativity. Pretty soon, you'll learn to read each other's signals and develop some consistency, but it's okay to let them lead. If you stick with the basics, it's pretty hard to mess this up.